Welcome friends, today we will discuss about anatomy of heart. Cardiovascular disease is the most frequent cause of adult death in the Western world. In the UK, one-third of men and one-quarter of women will die as a result of ischemic heart disease. In many developed countries, the incidence of ischemic heart disease has been falling for the last 2 or 3 decades, but it is rising in Eastern Europe and Asia. Cardiovascular disease will soon become the leading cause of death on all continents. Strategies for the treatment and prevention of heart disease can be highly effective and have been subjected to rigorous evaluation. The evidence base for the treatment of cardiovascular disease is stronger than for almost any other disease group. Valvular heart disease is common, but the etiology varies in different parts of the world. On the Indian subcontinent and in Africa, it is predominantly due to rheumatic fever, whereas calcific aortic valve disease is the most common problem in developed countries. Prompt recognition of the development of heart disease is limited by two key factors. Firstly, it is often latent. Coronary artery disease can proceed to an advanced stage before the patient notices any symptoms. Secondly, the diversity of symptoms attributable to heart disease is limited, so different pathologies may frequently present with the same symptoms. Now, the anatomy of the heart. The heart acts as two serial pumps that share several electrical and mechanical components. The right heart circulates blood to the lungs, where it is oxygenated, and the left heart circulates it to the rest of the body. The atria are thin-walled structures that act as priming pumps for the ventricles, which provide most of the energy required to maintain the circulation. The atria are situated posteriorly within the mediastinum, where the left atrium sits anterior to the esophagus and descending aorta. The right atrium receives blood from the superior and inferior vena cava and the coronary sinus. The left atrium receives blood from four pulmonary veins, two from each of the left and right lungs. The ventricles are thick-walled structures adapted to circulating blood through large vascular beds under pressure. The atria and ventricles are separated by the annulus fibrosus, which forms the skeleton for the atrioventricular valves and electrically insulates the atria from the ventricles. The right ventricle is about 2 to 3 millimeter thick and triangular in shape. It extends from the annulus fibrosus to near the cardiac apex and sits anterior and to the right of the left ventricle. The anterosuperior surface of the right ventricle is rounded and convex, and its posterior extent is bounded by the interventricular septum, which bulges into the chamber. Its upper extent is conical, forming the conus arteriosus or outflow tract, from which the pulmonary artery arises. The left ventricle is more conical in shape and in cross section is nearly circular. It extends from the left atrium to the apex of the heart. The left ventricle myocardium is normally around 10 millimeter thick because it pumps blood at a higher pressure than the right ventricle. Normally, the heart occupies less than 50% of the transthoracic diameter in the frontal plane, as seen on a chest X-ray. On the patient's left, the cardiac silhouette is formed by the aortic arch, pulmonary trunk, the left atrial appendage, and the left ventricle. On the right, the silhouette is formed by the right atrium and the superior and inferior vena cava, and the lower right border is formed by the right ventricle. In disease states or congenital cardiac abnormalities, the silhouette may change as a result of hypertrophy or dilatation. Now, the coronary circulation. The left main and right coronary arteries arise from the left and right sinuses of the aortic root, distal to the aortic valve. Within 2.5 cm of its origin, the left main coronary artery divides into the left anterior descending artery, which runs in the anterior interventricular groove, and the left circumflex artery, which runs posteriorly in the atrioventricular groove. The LAD, left anterior descending artery, gives branches to supply the anterior part of the septum, septal perforators, and the anterior, lateral, and apical walls of the left ventricle. The circumflex gives marginal branches that supply the lateral, posterior, and inferior segments of the left ventricle. The right coronary artery runs in the right atrioventricular groove, giving branches that supply the right atrium, the right ventricle, and infero-posterior aspects of the left ventricle. The posterior descending artery (PDA) runs in the posterior interventricular groove and supplies the inferior part of the interventricular septum. This vessel is a branch of the right coronary artery in approximately 90% of people, dominant right system, and is supplied by the circumflex in the remainder, dominant left system. The coronary anatomy varies greatly from person to person, and there are many normal variants. The right coronary artery supplies the sinoatrial node in about 60% of individuals and the AV node in about 90%. Proximal occlusion of the right coronary artery therefore often results in sinus bradycardia and may also cause AV nodal block. Abrupt occlusion of the right coronary artery to coronary thrombosis results in infarction of the inferior part of the left ventricle and often the right ventricle. Abrupt occlusion of the left anterior descending or circumflex causes infarction in the corresponding territory of the left ventricle, and occlusion of the left main coronary artery is usually fatal. The venous system follows the coronary arteries but drains into the coronary sinus in the atrioventricular groove and then to the right atrium. An extensive lymphatic system drains into vessels that travel with the coronary vessels and then into the thoracic duct. This is the diagram of a heart. Here shows pressure in the aorta is systolic pressure 90 to 140, diastolic pressure 60 to 90, mean arterial pressure 70 to 105. In the left atrium, the pressure is 4 to 12 millimeter mercury. In the left ventricle, systolic pressure is 90 to 140 millimeter mercury and diastolic pressure is 4 to 12 millimeter mercury. In this diagram, there is superior vena cava. There is pulmonary artery where systolic pressure is 15 to 30 millimeter mercury, diastolic pressure 5 to 15 millimeter mercury. Mean arterial pressure is 10 to 20 millimeter mercury. In the right atrium, the pressure is 0 to 5 millimeter mercury. In the right ventricle, systolic pressure is 15 to 30 millimeter mercury and diastolic pressure is 0 to 5, and there is presence of inferior vena cava. This is the surface anatomy of the heart. The positions of the major cardiac chambers and heart valves are shown. There is pulmonary artery, left atrial appendage, superior vena cava, pulmonary valve, base of the heart, aortic valve, tricuspid valve, inferior vena cava, mitral valve, and apex of the heart. This is the coronary arteries and the anterior view. There is seen in left coronary artery, left main coronary artery, pulmonary artery and valve, left anterior descending artery, septal perforator branches, diagonal branches, obtuse marginal, and apex. And there is seen aorta, superior vena cava, sinoatrial node, right coronary artery, and opposite side of circumflex artery, atrioventricular node, inferior vena cava, posterior descending artery. Here is the cardiac conduction system. Depolarization starts in the sinoatrial node and spreads through the atria, the blue arrows, and then through the atrioventricular node, black arrows. Depolarization then spreads through the bundle of His and the bundle branches to reach the ventricular muscle, red arrows. Repolarization spreads from epicardium to endocardium, green arrows. There is sinoatrial node, then it spreads to left atrium, then bundle of atrioventricular node and bundle of His, and there is right bundle branch, right ventricle, and left bundle branch, left anterior fascicle, left posterior fascicle, left ventral, and Purkinje fibers. Now the conduction system. The SA node is situated at the junction of the superior vena cava and right atrium. It comprises specialized atrial cells that depolarize at a rate influenced by the autonomic nervous system and by circulating catecholamines. During normal sinus rhythm, this depolarization wave propagates through both atria via sheets of atrial myocytes. The annulus fibrosus forms a conduction barrier between atria and ventricles, and the only pathway through it is the AV node. This is a midline structure extending from the right side of the interatrial septum, penetrating the annulus fibrosus anteriorly. The AV node conducts relatively slowly, producing a necessary time delay between atrial and ventricular contraction. The His-Purkinje system is composed of the bundle of His extending from the AV node into the interventricular septum. The right and left bundle branches passing along the ventricular septum and into the respective ventricles. The anterior and posterior fascicles of the left bundle branch and the smaller Purkinje fibers that ramify through the ventricular myocardium. The tissues of the His-Purkinje system conduct very rapidly and allow near simultaneous depolarization of the entire ventricular myocardium. Now, nerve supply of the heart. The heart is innervated by both sympathetic and parasympathetic fibers. Adrenergic nerves from the cervical sympathetic chain supply muscle fibers in the atria and ventricles. And the electrical conducting system. Activation of beta-1 adrenoceptors in the heart results in positive inotropic and chronotropic effects, whereas activation of beta-2 adrenoceptors in vascular smooth muscle causes vasodilatation. Parasympathetic preganglionic fibers and sensory fibers reach the heart through the vagus nerves. Cholinergic nerves supply the AV and SA nodes via muscarinic receptors. Under resting conditions, vagal inhibitory activity predominates and the heart rate is slow. Adrenergic stimulation associated with exercise, emotional stress, fever, and so on causes the heart rate to increase. In disease states, the nerve supply to the heart may be affected. For example, in heart failure, the sympathetic system may be upregulated, and in diabetes mellitus, the nervous themselves may be damaged by autonomic neuropathy, so that there is little variation in heart rate. Thank you, friends.